It is an old school kind of day. I've already put out one video focused on old school D&D, and I'm pretty much going to focus on that here, and probably in the next video. If you are new to the old school, you might not know that Gary Gygax, oh yeah, one of the inventors of Dungeons and Dragons, well, he used to start his characters at level 3. Already put some meat on the bone. Get a head start. Well, you don't really need to do that. You can always start the game at level 1. You could even try some tricks. Here is one I've tried over the years. It's not one I always use, but I've tried it and it's been very successful. It has to do with armor soaking up damage. Now, not every character is going to benefit from this, like a wizard who doesn't wear armor. But I'm sure if you're a wizard, you're not running into close quarters combat. And if you got melee guys, fighters that can handle that type of fighting, and that armor is soaking up some of the damage so they can stay in the fight longer, there's a much better chance that you easily survive as you go forward playing a wizard. So let's set a standard. And we'll do it with leather armor. We'll say that leather armor has 10 hit points. Anything less than leather armor has less hit points. Anything better than leather armor clearly has more hit points. When you pick leather armor in an old school TSR game, well, what you're really picking is just your torso armor, because all attacks are assumed to be at the torso. Any attacks away from the torso will have minuses applied to it. So how does this work? Well, let me give you an example. The fighter is in close quarters combat. They're wearing leather armor. They get hit for 5 damage. The leather armor is going to soak up 3 hit points of that damage. So they're only going to take 2 hit points of damage. Overall, the leather armor will take 1 damage. So it soaks up 3, it takes 1 damage, and the character would take 2 damage. So the leather armor goes from 10 to 9 hit points. The character could be wearing a leather helm as well. And if the monster took a detailed attack, like a call shot, and aimed for the head, well, now that headgear will take the damage. And you can give it 10 hit points, just like you would the main leather armor on the torso. What happens if the attacker only does 2 damage? Well, the leather armor would still soak up that 2 damage, so the fighter takes no damage. But the armor still takes 1 full damage, even though it's only soaked up 2 damage that was aimed at the fighter. By doing this, you can make, say, going to see a blacksmith or an armor or a leather worker really important in the game. Or if a character has those skills, well, those skills are going to be really effective in this game where the armor is taking actual damage. Now, the armor will stay intact right up until it has 1 hit point, and then it's going to be obvious that it's pretty much almost hanging off the body. It will still soak up that last hit, but if it does, that armor just falls off. I don't care if it's in the middle of combat, like the straps give out, whatever, it's done. Now, I want to make this clear. I don't always use this. I run my own game. I don't always run TSR D&D. When I do run TSR D&D, at least nowadays, I only run 2nd edition. And I have used this probably in the last 5 years. I forget exactly when. But I don't always. And my most recent 2nd edition campaign that I ran, never used it at all. But when I do, it always works. I just have such a variety of ideas that I always don't use the same stuff from campaign to campaign, especially if I'm bringing in new players that want more the game out of the book, if you get what I'm saying, and they don't want a lot of homebrew stuff, coming their way. So I have different versions of 2nd edition I'll run depending on the players that I'm running the game for. So if you're finding level 1 to be too much of a grind, and like Gary, you're considering jumping to level 3 as a starting point, well, maybe this idea might change your mind. It's effective, it doesn't break the game, it won't ruin the game. I've tried it many times, it works perfect. It doesn't make the game less hard, nothing like that. Just because the fighter might survive 1 extra hit than they normally would, it doesn't make the game suddenly easier and you're a superhero and you can't be stopped. None of that is going on. All the old school stuff is still there. You know, you die when you die, stuff like that. We're not talking 5e. We're just talking about a minor adjustment. You know, the type of stuff that you might see in an OSR game. So don't be worried about these ideas. They work. I promise you that if you take this to the table, here's what I promise you. I'm not pulling your leg. This will work, and you'll be happy with it. Anyway, for now, take care. You know what you can do? You can hit the like button. You can share the video. Oh, and there's another button you can press. That one that lets you subscribe to my channel for more content. Oh yeah, there's that bell thing. You can press that so you know when I've uploaded a new video right away.